Hey guys, my name is Francisco Hernandez, and today I want to share with you 5 tips for shooting portraits at the beach. I recently did my very first photo shoot at the beach, and I learned a couple of things, so I wanted to share with you guys what I learned, just in case you guys want to try shooting at the beach yourself. Before I continue, I do want to give a huge shout out to Adrian of Street Photography RGV for inviting me to the photo shoot, Joe and Ashley for assisting on the photo shoot, and also the model, Julia, of course, for being such a great model, and also Samuel for getting some extra behind the scenes footage at the photo shoot. I'll leave links to everybody in the description area below. The very first tip that I can give you is to take in consideration not just the weather, if it's going to be sunny or rainy or not, but also take into consideration the wind and the tide. Me and my friends didn't consider how high the tide could be, so when we arrived at the very first location that we wanted to shoot at, it wasn't even accessible at all. It was completely underwater, so we ended up having to just skip that location altogether and went to the very next spot, which was towards the beach. If you're going to be bringing lighting to the photo shoot, then you definitely need to consider how strong the wind is going to be, because depending on how strong the wind is, you may not want to use a big modifier, or you might be able to use that big modifier. For the photo shoot that we did, we ended up using a 5-foot modifier, and I can tell you that it was definitely not the best softbox to use because of how strong the wind was. For a lot of times at the photo shoot, because we had a lot of people helping out, we needed 2 people to hold the softbox in place just because of how strong the wind was pushing it. You definitely want to use something smaller and more portable. I would recommend nothing further than 38 inches. Something that size or smaller would be better to use on a windy day like the photo shoot that we did. The best portable combo that I can recommend to you guys, and what I plan to shoot at my next beach photo shoot, is the Godox 8300 Pro with the 85 and the 65 centimeter softboxes made for that light. Even if you don't plan to shoot with lighting and you want to just use natural light, if you plan to use something like a reflector or diffuser, if it's a very windy day, that can be very, very hard on whoever's holding that reflector, even if it's you or if it's somebody that's there with you. The very next tip that I can give you is to use the water near the beach, both as a reflector and for reflections. That little space between the sand and the water is going to be nice and reflective. It's kind of like a flat, muddy surface area. So when the water comes in and pulls back, it becomes very, very reflective. And I actually did attempt some reflection shots on that spot, but it didn't end up working out. But I would recommend you guys trying it out and see what you can create. What I mean by the water acting as a reflector is if you're going to be shooting natural light and the sun is kind of high, depending on where the sun is positioned, it can bounce a lot of light off of the water and up onto the bottom of the subject, acting as a fill light. Of course, this is going to be best utilized with the subject near the water. So let's say, for example, a kneeling pose. The third tip is actually a huge one, and it's to bring with you a changing station. I highly recommend using the one that we used at our photo shoot. It has nice ventilation, it's very spacious, and it's not covered on the top. If you use a normal changing station without any of those things, then you would know that it gets very, very humid in there. I'll leave a link to the one that I recommend in the description area below. The reason why the changing station is so important is because it's going to save you a lot of time and energy for the photo shoot. Let's say, for example, your subject only needed to walk away 10 minutes to change and then come back. Well, 20 minutes at a time, like golden hour, for example, is going to be a lot of time and light wasted. At golden hour, every single second counts, and every single second the light gets dimmer and dimmer. So it can ruin a lot of the shots that you intend to take at a time like golden hour. Let's say for another example, you're shooting at high noon and you don't mind those 20 minutes wasted for the subject to go change and come back. Well, aside from the time factor, you're still going to save them a lot of energy that they have to walk in the sand to and from the spot that you're shooting at. It can be very tiring to walk in the sand, so you definitely want to go ahead and just bring a changing station, which is going to save both time and energy. So I highly recommend you do that. You never want the subject to be tired at the photo shoot, because more than likely it'll show up in the photos. The fourth tip I can give you is to avoid switching lenses. If you've ever been to the beach, you know that sand gets absolutely everywhere. So you want to avoid sand getting in your camera. So I would recommend you go ahead, if you're going to shoot with more than one lens, to bring multiple bodies with one lens married to that body. So don't ever switch the lenses, because more than likely sand is going to go inside of your camera. And at the photo shoot that we did, I started shooting with the Sigma Art 35 f1.2, and I ended up switching out for a 105 1.4 at the end, and sand did get in my camera. So you definitely want to avoid doing that by just going ahead and just making one lens on one body and bringing multiple bodies if you want to shoot with different lenses at that photo shoot. The very last tip that I can give you might be an obvious one, but it's to bring help with you to the photo shoot. If you intend to use lighting at all, then having someone there to help with that light can make the difference between your light surviving at the end of the photo shoot or not surviving and being full of water or sand at the end of the photo shoot. Even if you're not going to shoot with any sort of lighting at all, then still bringing a reflector or a diffuser at a natural light photo shoot can be very, very hard to work with on a very windy day. So having someone there to be dedicated to holding that reflector or diffuser can be very, very helpful. For me personally, I always schedule my photo shoots so that my fiance or any sort of photo friend or family member can help me so that my shoot goes very, very smoothly. If you don't have any family members or friends to help you out at the photo shoot, then I would highly recommend asking the subject themselves to bring a family member or a loved one so that they can be an assistant for you. So those were 5 tips that I can give you for shooting portraits at the beach. I did learn a lot from that first photo shoot that I did at the beach. So in case you guys have any other questions that I might have forgotten for shooting portraits at the beach, then let me know in the comment section below and I'll reply as soon as possible. Don't forget to give this video a like right now and also subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. I plan to do a lot more interesting stuff with this channel like live photo critiques and also giveaways. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video where I show you guys the photo shoot that I did as well as the photos. Take care and I'll see you in the very next video.
Can you see me shaking? Hear the sound of my heart breaking. Bless the soul that's aching, hoping I survive. The feeling lingers on every day of every month, wishing I just could forget about you. The weight upon my bones makes it harder to move on. Oh baby, don't think that I'll ever forgive myself for losing you, or for losing you. Left our love up on those dusty shelves. Can't forgive myself for losing you. Not that we were cruel enough to do it. Now I feel so stupid. Don't you feel that too?